The bomb used by the Saudi-led coalition in an attack that killed 40 children in Yemen earlier this month was made in the U.S. That's according to media reports. There have been growing calls from politicians in Washington to track American-made weapons that are being used in the conflict in the Middle East's poorest country. The U.S. is the main supplier of arms to the UAE and Saudi Arabia and provides logistical and intelligence support to their military campaign in Yemen. Let's speak to Michael Cruickshank. He's a journalist who wrote about the weapons used in the airstrike. He's joining us via Skype from Berlin. Thanks for speaking to us. And when we refer to that airstrike, we are talking about the one that targeted the Dahyan area, and that happened on August the 9th. What can you tell us about that particular bombing, what you analyzed, and the munition used in that bomb?
So what we can say is that the bombing happened on the morning of the 9th, and it targeted an area very close to a market in the center of the city, also along its busiest street, at a time when there was significant amounts of traffic along that street. As we can see, tragically, at least 50 people lost their lives, including more than 40 children. And when social media activists on the ground have been posting pictures of what they say are fragments of the bomb that was used in the attack. And one particular of those fragments was a fin from, allegedly that was found at the site. And this fin allowed us to track where this bomb was from. And it included something called a cage code, which is used by the Defense Logistics Agency in order to track its items around the world. And so this cage code led us back to a Paveway 2 bomb that was built by Lockheed Martin. However, the question remains whether this particular fin that was shown in pictures from social media activists, whether this was indeed from the bomb site or whether it was placed there at a later date.
Yeah, my next question to you, because there have been a chance, or is there a chance at all, that this fin was deliberately placed there?
There is a chance. However, the damage that we have seen is consistent with the kind of munition that fin was from. However, you are correct in saying that there is still a chance that it could have been placed there by a third party.
What do you make of the Saudi response, though, however, that the coalition had hit a legitimate military target during that attack?
I certainly don't believe that this was a legitimate military target. Even if this was the bus that they were allegedly targeting was a military target, it was in the middle of a civilian area, a very densely packed civilian area with many vehicles that would have been easily visible from an aircraft that was over the area. So them targeting anything in the middle of this busy street very close to a market would still have been an illegitimate target due to the fact that there was no way that they could include civilian casualties from the assault, from the attack. So.
You're obviously covering the story quite closely, and there are reports that there is growing pressure in the U.S. among some congressmen to put pressure not to sell weapons to Saudi Arabia anymore. Do you think that that has any legs? Is it going to go anywhere?
It's very difficult to say at this stage. In the past, there have been moves to restrict the sale of these munitions to Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states. However, in my understanding, since the Trump administration has since changed those rules, and the sales of these munitions are now back on. So within the current political environment in the United States, it's difficult to see how these moves would have any effect in the short term.
All right, Michael Cruickshank, we thank you for speaking to us via Skype. Thank you.
Thank you.